before we get into this, did you know only 12% of my viewers are subscribed? 12%. So go down there and check and see if you're subscribed right now. You might be watching all of my videos, but you might not be subscribed, and subscribing helps me out a ton. We have recently passed the 1,000 threshold, which is a dream come true, and I cannot thank you enough. But obviously, I want you guys to stick around if possible. So go ahead, go check that. We could literally have 8 times the community we have right now if every single one of my viewers subscribe. So just do me a favor, double check, leave a like while you're down there, and enjoy the video. Virizion sucks, it's no secret. Thankfully though, for the 3 Virizion fans out there, Game Freak recently released Iron Leaves, which is a future paradox version of Virizion. Iron Leaves is a psychic and grass type Pokemon with a Quirk Drive ability, being able to boost its highest stat in electric terrain. In this case, it can be either speed or attack. It has fine stats with 90 HP, an amazing 130 attack, 88 defense, 70 special attack, a respectable 108 special defense, and an above average 104 speed. It has a very good speed tier relative to other Pokemon, and it hits very hard. There are very few Pokemon that would really want to switch into it. This Pokemon's typing sucks defensively, but offensively it honestly isn't the worst, and it gets coverage for the things its stabs don't really hit very well. Its strong stab attacks include both Leaf Blade and a new move exclusive to Iron Leaves in Psyblade, which is an 80 base power psychic type move which is boosted by 1.5 times in electric terrain. It has very powerful coverage in moves such as Close Combat for Steals, Mega Horn for other bulky psychics, and Night Slash for something like Gholdengo. It also has the best setup moves you could ask for in both Swords Dance and Agility, which both pair very well with Booster Energy depending on which boost you build to get from that Booster Energy. Iron Leaves is a Pokemon that really takes advantage of Terra, and you really cannot choose a type that is incorrect on this Pokemon. The first type that, in my opinion, Iron Leaves really takes advantage of is Fighting. This allows Iron Leaves to no longer be 4 times weak to Bug, but instead resist it. This also allows its already hard-hitting Close Combats to hit even harder as it becomes a stab move. A great defensive type for this Pokemon is Steel. This switches a lot of its resistances such as Ground, Bug, and Fighting into weaknesses, which at first sounds very bad, but it creates mind games in the Draft League format as to if you are going to Terra or not, and if the move they click will be good into you because of that. Not only that, but Steel is just such a good defensive type that you will be able to get up on SD or an Agility a lot easier with this typing. Lastly, Psychic is a no-brainer type to Terra into, especially if you are running this in an electric terrain team. This boosts your Psyblade and gets rid of your horrendous grass typing defensively. Adaptability Psyblades in terrain are absolutely no joke. There are obviously a lot of other good typings such as electric or even water, but there are way too many to name here. As far as good pairings, the first Pokemon is painfully obvious in Pincurchin. Pincurchin is not very good, but almost necessary on electric terrain teams. Electric terrain not only gives him Quirk Drive, but also gives the Psyblade boost, making it genuinely a no-brainer to pair into Iron Leaves. Another great pairing is Gholdengo. Gholdengo can take those U-turns Iron Leaves hate super easily and break the psychics that Iron Leaves doesn't like facing, as well as chipping darks that would like to switch into both of these Pokemon for Iron Leaves in the back. If Iron Leaves is the win con, it loves having Gholdengo next to it. The third pairing I want to list is going to be another future Paradox Mon that can help Iron Leaves cover its weaknesses, Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant can hit the darks that Iron Leaves doesn't want to hit and pressure pretty much anything Iron Leaves struggles with, except for flying types. It can also take advantage of Quirk Drive on top of Iron Leaves, which is a fantastic benefit on terrain teams. Obviously, there are way too many good pairings to list, but these are the 3 that I personally really enjoy. As for example items, there are really only a few different items being ran on this Pokemon. The first of which is Booster Energy, which can really help you outside of terrain teams and give this Pokemon some extra power that it definitely benefits from. The next item is Life Orb. While Iron Leaves does have great coverage, it doesn't like being locked into a move, so I personally prefer Life Orb to ban to maintain that extra damage while being able to switch moves. Lastly, Lum is another great option to block potential Willows from something like a Rotom Wash and be able to set up Carefree. As for example teams, I'm only going to have 2 for you guys today because I really want to get this video to you guys on Thursday afternoon. The first team we have is an example of an electric terrain team. It is Hyper Offense Electric Terrain with a Clodsire. In all honesty, there are definitely better ways to run an electric terrain team. I think Bounce, for instance, would just be infinitely better, but I also wanted to try Zoroark, so I thought it'd be fun. I went around 3-3 with this team in testing, but I did have a good time. The main focal point is to get Iron Leaves in, get a Swords Dance up, and Terra Psychic to absolutely nuke whatever is in your way. There are very few, if any, switch-ins to +2 Life Orb Psyblade in electric terrain. Paired with this, we have Pincurchin for electric terrain, who very much so hinders the team because it is so bad in OU. We have Clodsire for things like opposing Iron Valiants that we otherwise struggle with. We have Specs Iron Valiant to be a great breaker under the electric terrain. Scarf Hisuian Zoroark to outspeed things such as Walking Wake if we do not have terrain up and they have sun up. And then we have Great Tusk because Great Tusk is on 50% of OU teams. I'm like, come on guys, like he's just very, very good. This team is definitely fun, but I am personally very bad with Hisuian Zoroark, and I've come to this conclusion after using this team. So it's totally possible that you guys have more success with this team than I did. The problem with this team was us getting overwhelmed before we overwhelm our opponent, as there's very little defensive counterplay on this team. But if you can get Iron Valiant in early to break, there are definitely openings where Iron Leaves can just come in, Swords Dance, and win the game. For the second team, and I cannot stress this one enough, this one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this team. We have a momentum based Iron Leaves team paired with the Roaring Moon. I think Iron Leaves benefits a lot from momentum, from getting in on the correct Pokemon, because there are definitely a lot of certain Pokemon, depending on your set, that wall it in this tier. And being able to not only switch into those Pokemon, but also gain momentum as those Pokemon switch out to get Iron Leaves back in is really nice for the Pokemon. Roaring Moon and Iron Leaves are a great combination, and they break very well for each other. This Iron Leaves is more of a late game win con with Swords Dance plus Trailblaze with Terra fighting close combat in the back. Feel free to change that to something like Wild Charge if you want to break Corviknights. We also have Rotom Wash to help, again with momentum, as well as Pokemon such as Garchomp, and have some form of a switch into Gholdengo that can pressure and outspeed it once we switch in. And then we have Corviknight for opposing Great Tusk, as well as having Defog. Honestly, if I could change anything on this team, it might be Corviknight. It was nice for the Great Tusk, but we played a lot with Rock Slide because Gholdengo just hard walls Corviknight and comes in on the Defog. Next up, we had a fantastic breaker in Dragapult. Again, another momentum Pokemon that breaks very well for Iron Leaves. And then lastly, we had Clodsire, a staple I guess I pretty much put on every OU team I make, with Water Absorb because Walking Wake stomps us up to this point. This team saw a lot more success than the first one and is much better than the other team in my opinion, and if you are going to check out either of the team, I highly recommend you check out this team. After using Iron Leaves, I think this Pokemon is definitely super good, but the fact that it abuses electric terrain with the only current setter being Pincurchin unfortunately hinders it a lot more than it should. Once it gets set up, it is very powerful and can be very overwhelming, but to get to that point to where it's set up and it's ready, it's in terrain, requires a lot of preparation, and based on your set, there's always some top tier threats that can wall you, whether you don't have Night Slash so Gholdengo walls you, no close combat so Corviknight walls you, there's always going to be something standing in your way using Iron Leaf. While that's the case in OU, I do definitely think this is probably a pretty good Pokemon in Draft League. I would put it probably around 15 points after using it, and seeing the type of versatility it potentially has, I don't think I would put it any higher than that, but I do think 15 points and potentially a Terra Captain would be a good option for Iron Leaves in Draft League. What do you guys think of Iron Leaves? Let me know down below, and while you're down there, you might as well leave a like. I put a lot of work into this video and it would mean a lot. We've passed 1,000 subs, we are well on our way to 1,100, and I cannot thank you guys enough. It literally means the world. And I got a new mic, by the way. If I sound different in this video, I'm trying to be a little bit quieter because it picks stuff up a little bit better because it's right in front of my face. So let me know what you guys think of this mic. I think the sound quality is so much better. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, be sure to leave a like. And for now, guys, this has been John Jr. signing out.